Happy anniversary to Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light, and America's sweetheart, Dylan Mulvaney. That's right, it's been 1 month to the day since this brilliant marketing strategy.
So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate.
There you go, absolutely. And we're celebrating the 1 month anniversary of that moment. Hey, you know what we should do? We should check in with Bud Light and see how things are going, right? I checked. There's a radio host in Madison, Wisconsin, who was at his local Costco, and he took a quick picture of the little display of Bud Light, and wow, look at that. A 36 can case for $14.97. Just doing the math here in my head, that works out to about 42 cents a can. They're selling Bud Light at 42 cents a can, and they don't seem to be selling them, actually. They're stacked pretty high there, aren't they? Bud Light going for 42 cents a can. Actually not going for 42 cents a can. People are choosing not to drink Bud Light in droves. In fact, at a bar also in the Midwest, this time in Indiana, well, they're having some trouble because apparently the bar owner said, if you don't have a nice thing to say about Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney, and you don't support what Bud Light has done here, then I don't want you in my bar. And, well, everybody left. In fact, as you can see from how the Daily Mail wrote it up, they're dying for the customers to come back. They said, you're not welcome here if you speak out against this Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light thing, and now they have no customers. Now let's just be clear here. This isn't anti-LGBTQIA+. This isn't anti-trans. It's not even anti-Dylan Mulvaney. It's anti-corporations deciding to inject themselves into important political and cultural conversations in our country. You know what we want Anheuser-Busch to do? Make beer. Make beer, sell beer, keep people employed in the process of making and selling beer, and stay out of controversial conversations in this country. We don't want you to be a part of it. We don't need you to be a part of it. We got this conversation without you injecting yourself into it, but they refuse to do so. And so these are the net results. 42 cents a can, and they're still not selling any. Now, if you'll remember, after this controversy hit, about 10 days later, Anheuser-Busch was certainly feeling the heat, and they decided to put out this statement where they didn't really apologize, and they didn't really say they regretted their decision, and they didn't really do anything to make amends or make a difference. All they said was pretty much, we love our country, and the last thing we ever wanted was to be a part of a divisive discussion. We want to bring people together, yada, yada, and we'll do better in the future. Again, no apology, no amends, no mea culpa, no we were wrong, just, we get it, we treaded maybe where we shouldn't have, and we'll do better next time. And that clearly wasn't enough. Well, actually, it may have had the opposite effect, because now Anheuser-Busch is dealing with the latest fallout. This one comes from the Human Rights Campaign. That's a pro-LGBTQIA+ organization. They've been one of the leading organizations here in Washington, D.C. It's a lobbying group, in fact, trying to push these issues into corporate America and certainly into our schoolrooms. And they've issued a statement now. As we wrote up in Town Hall about it, it basically goes like this. Anheuser-Busch is in a deep hole with the trans community. Yeah, here's what Jay Brown, he is the vice president of Human Rights Campaign. He wrote a letter to Anheuser-Busch, and he said, at this moment, it's absolutely critical for Anheuser-Busch to stand in solidarity with Dylan and the trans community. You see what's going on here, Anheuser-Busch? Oh boy, are you screwed. When faced with anti-LGBTQ+ and transphobic criticism, Anheuser-Busch's actions demonstrate a profound lack of fortitude in upholding its values of diversity, equity, and inclusion to employees, customers, shareholders, and the LGBTQ+ community. What did Anheuser-Busch do? They put out that letter. The letter that didn't say they did anything wrong, didn't say I'm sorry, didn't say we disavow, didn't say we wish we could do. No, it just said, I understand, we stuck our nose into a controversial topic and We'll try to do better next time. And that has offended the trans community now. In fact, Brown goes on to say, this not only lends credence to hate-filled rhetoric. See, Anheuser-Busch, if you don't do exactly what they tell you, you're hate-filled. It also exposes Anheuser-Busch to long-term business impacts, with employees and customers increasingly looking for steadfast commitment to LGBTQ plus corporate citizenships. This is the real fallout from Anheuser-Busch for doing this. You see, you can't ever please them. You can't ever do enough to make them happy. And by them, I mean left-wing activists, the left in general. They have an agenda. They want to change this country. And if they can't do it through the ballot box, through elected representatives, through the actual proper procedure of legislation, which is how you're supposed to change this country, well, then they'll do it through bullying taxes, from standing on your front lawn with a bullhorn and protesting you until you acquiesce and knuckle under and take a knee to them and kiss their ring. And, well, Anheuser-Busch, you're feeling it now, aren't you? Because now you're not woke enough for Human Rights Campaign, and they're coming at you. And that's what you get. You kind of deserve it, frankly. However, there was one other statement this weekend with regard to the trans issues that might actually resonate quite a bit across party lines. It came from a candidate for president for the Democratic nomination, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He was asked point blank on CNN about protecting women's sports. And here's what he said.
Subject 2, trans sports participation. I think that I'm against people participating in women's sports who are biologically male. I think women have worked too hard to develop to develop women's sports over the past 30 years. I watched it happen, and I don't think that's fair.
Now, I want to be clear here. I don't support Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a candidate for president. I don't want him anywhere near the White House in any capacity other than maybe as a tourist or a guest of whoever the president happens to be. I don't support this guy, but what you just heard from him was an incredibly reasonable and logical position to take. And he is outside the mainstream of his party, of the Democrats. He's outside the mainstream of this White House, that's for sure. But by stating that so clearly, I'm against people participating in women's sports who are biologically male because it's unfair, and women have worked too hard to build women's sports to where they are right now to be treated like this. He's now, I believe, forcing the issue within the party. But will the president respond? Why doesn't the president agree with Robert Kennedy Jr.? What about the other Democrats in the party? Why is this position so far out the mainstream? And, well, let's just see where the chips fall. Maybe they'll come down the way Anheuser-Busch has, and they'll be on the wrong side of the Human Rights Campaign, or maybe they'll take the knee and they'll kiss the ring and they'll do whatever the activists tell them to do. But just remember, while those guys over at Human Rights Campaign representing the trans community firing off angry letters at the beer company telling them how they should market their product, they're probably drinking Cosmos. They're not big Bud fans over there. You know who drinks Bud in this country. Now let's see what side they choose. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.